Let's talk about Lobola, how a tradition that meant to unite two families came to be thought of as a scam, how colonialism changed the way we viewed this sacred tradition that fights to thrive in the modern world of marriage law and divorce, and most importantly, the untold truth of how a European settler forever changed the way Africans viewed and went about paying this bride price. Lobola, also referred to by various names such as Bohati, Rora, Ikasi, Mahari, Bohali, Mamalo, or Lumalo, depending on the culture, is a long-standing African tradition practice across African communities. Each culture has unique customs surrounding Lobola. For example, in Tswana culture, the Rahadi, the bride's paternal aunt, leads the negotiation, while in Zulu culture, historically women were not allowed to lead, although their input was not entirely disregarded. Essentially, Lobola is defined as a cultural practice that is done to create a relationship among two families. It serves as a token of appreciation from the groom's family to the bride. In earlier times, the groom's family would offer anything of value, be it a spear, a hoe, an act of service such as building a kraal for the bride's family. In the Nguni tradition, animals, particularly cows, were believed to have spiritual significance. The gift of a cow symbolized a spiritual connection between the two families rather than a transaction for economic gain. The ritual was especially important in the Zulu culture, where it represented the continuation of a family's lineage. However, the advent of colonialism significantly altered the practice, shaping both how it is viewed and performed today. Lobola started off as a fairly simple tradition. Initially, men were paying whatever they had to get married. Those who had nothing were also accommodated because they could negotiate and pay Lobola when they had something. But in the 1800s, Sir Theophilus Shepstone, a British administrator for native affairs in Natal, who was responsible for the occupation of the Transvaal in 1877 and helped to instigate the famous Anglo-Zulu War, noticed there were a lot of weddings at the time and the culture of paying any amount of lobola was disorganized. So he introduced a system that would seek to organize this bride price payment. Shepstone imposed that 11 cows should be paid for a woman who is still a virgin, 10 if she is not a virgin, 15 cows for an induna or a chief's daughter, while the king's daughter should receive 20 cows and upwards. After Shepstone imposed his rule, people started paying in cows, but things moved to a point where men are paying hard cash instead of cows, with cash equaling the value of the cow. What was first recognized as a gift that would unite two African families was soon quantified and made into a transactional cost that benefited the bride's family. Initially, both families would present a gift that showed their support to the union, but now the groom and his family are the ones to carry the burden. The question of whether lobola is a scam varies depending on the cultural perspective, as it differs from one culture to the other. In the context of Nguni and broader South African cultures, the answer can be both yes and no. For many, lobola is seen as a sign of respect and a way to honor tradition. Grooms often participate in the practice to demonstrate their love for their bride and show appreciation and respect for the bride's family. However, the way lobola is practiced today, particularly in relation to marriage and divorce, has led some to question its fairness. Some feel that it primarily benefits the bride's family and places a financial burden on the groom, both at the start of the marriage and potentially throughout it. In some cases, families demand excessively high amounts, raising concerns about what happens in the event of a divorce. If you liked this video and wish to see more like it, please leave us a comment and subscribe.